here we are. This is Sex Love Psychedelics, and I'm your host, Dr. Kat. Bringing you psychosexual conversations that will leave you intellectually turned on and hungry for more.
So this comes full circle to what we were saying earlier, the finding the balance between the receptivity, the surrender, and the action. And I know earlier I teased the audience and I said, I want to ask questions to you about how we can help improve our sperm and egg health. And so to come full circle, let's talk back again to the action. As we're in surrender, now what can we do to help our bodies in that way?
It's a great question. I get asked it all the time. What can I do to improve my fertility? And it's really simple, actually. Pretend you're pregnant right now. This is it. Think about it. There is not one woman, and men have to kind of put themselves in the role of
Yeah.
gestational carrier,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
there is not one woman who, if I say, if you were pregnant right at this moment and you know that you want to provide and give your child the best possible starting life and you want to have the healthiest possible baby, tell me right now, what are all of the things that you would absolutely start doing or that you would absolutely stop doing if you were carrying your baby in your womb at this very moment? There is not one woman who would not list like a laundry long list, that is the length of my arm of things that they can start and stop doing.
Okay.
And so the way that I say, in terms of fertility is that, well, those are the things that you and your partner want to start and stop doing right now, well before a pregnancy is in place. Why well before a pregnancy is in place? Well, you see, by 8 weeks gestation, a baby already has all its little fingerprints, all its little organs. Everything is in place. It's set. All it does from there is grow. So if you don't even know you're pregnant by 8 weeks and you think that you're going to then start doing the things that you can do to improve your fertility, to improve your health of your baby, you're already an entire process behind in terms of how that actually happens. And for most people for whom it hasn't been easy and it hasn't been straightforward, you are already holding inside of you 50% of the little baby that you want to create. And so the maturation and the formation of the egg and the sperm that is required to be able to have those best quality cells that are going to create the best quality embryo that then will yield a healthy baby at the end of that pregnancy needs that input months before a pregnancy is even in place. And why is that? Well, an egg takes about 12 months to mature, believe it or not. It happens in 2 maturation stages, from primordial follicle to primary follicle, and from primary follicle to ovulatory follicle. Those take between 4 to 6 months each. So the reality is that even though, yes, you can focus on optimizing that last stage, if you really want the absolute best results, you need to kind of live in a way that already is optimizing an entire generation of egg maturation for you to be able to benefit from. And the sperm takes about 4 months to be formed. So like the red blood cells in our body, where every 4 months you have entirely new red blood cells. Like there is not one red blood cell that is going to be left in your body, well, at least not a very healthy one, that's going to be left in your body at the end of every 4 months. The same thing happens with the sperm. All sperm are refreshed within that period of time.
Wow.
And so basically, the inputs into the system to be as healthy as possible, the nutrients, the removal of toxins, the things that essentially are going to make you as healthy as possible,
Well, what are
going into
these?
the system. So
Yeah, what are
I'll
these?
talk about
Yeah,
that in 1 second, but
got it.
like all of these things that you actually are going to be putting into the system
Sure.
are going to be essential, that they are there bathing the environment in which the egg is maturing and the sperm is forming way before a conception is achieved. So
Yeah.
that's why not only is fertility a team sport, but it actually is and it's also a transgenerational, situation, because if you think about it, you and I were both in our grandmother's wombs. In fact, everybody was in their grandmother's womb when their grandmothers were pregnant with their mothers, because women are born with all the eggs that they will ever have. So we were the eggs that were in our mother's womb when they were in their grandmother, in their mother's wombs. So it's a bit freaky to think about it like that. But all of the things that that grandmother ate, drank, was exposed to in the environment, some way, shape, or form, imprinted in our own genes and are going to inform what happens from here. The beauty about genes is that they can be turned on and off based on exposures that we have in our environment. So whether we're taking healthy inputs and eating well and having enough protein and having nutrients in our diet and doing all the things that we know makes us healthy, exercising, sleeping well, like, make no mistake, it might sound trite to say that the healthier you are in terms of your inputs, the healthier the quality of your cells and the quality of your reproduction is going to be. A healthy body is a fertile body at the end of the day. So the things that you would input are all of the things that you would normally input to be the very healthiest version of yourself.
Yeah, but
Now, doesn't mean
I was going to say all my friends are healthy. But
yes.
like,
Okay. So
what is it
this
specifically?
is where
Yeah.
it comes down to. Okay. So this is
Yeah.
where it comes down to. I had a woman once in my office say to me, maybe I should just start shooting up heroin. Maybe then I'll be fertile. And I'm like, okay, maybe that's not really the way to go about it. But this is why she was saying it. She's like,
Yeah.
these women are popping, like, the heroin addicts, they're popping babies in and out all the time. Like, what's going on? Why is it that I am so healthy and I am not actually able to do that? You see, we've all heard of people who have never smoked a day in their life and died of lung cancer. And
Mhm.
then we've heard of people who basically are chain smokers and have not developed lung cancer. Why that differential output based on the same exposure, cigarette smoking? The reason is that some people's susceptibility lies within their reproductive system.
Mm.
Other people's susceptibility lies within other systems in their body. And so what happens is this: let's talk about an individual and let's say that optimum fertility for that individual is like above my head, right? And let's say that they're starting out kind of in terms of their health around my chest. They may conceive, they may not. If they do not, staying where they are in terms of their current level of health isn't the thing that's going to make a difference to them being able to actually take home a baby. So
Mhm.
for one person, it might be that they need to sleep more. For another person, it might be that they need to exercise more. For another person, it might be that they need to take nutrients. For another person, it might be that they actually need to deal with and treat silent infections in the reproductive system. For other people, it might be that they need to address immunological components. And so at each one of those stages, right, you're going to have people who are going to do those things and are going to conceive. And
Mhm.
so, depending on, let's say that at the top of my head, we have, optimum fertility, and the person starts out kind of around my chest. For that person, it might be that they need to kind of get halfway through my nose to be able to actually achieve a healthy conception.
Mhm.
And so, they may not have to get to optimum fertility, but they certainly can't stay where they are.
Yeah.
And so the things that what it is that a individual needs to do will depend on where they're starting from.
Mhm.
Because I'll tell you what, if somebody eats McDonald's for 21 meals in a week, probably eating more vegetables is already going to have an
Sure.
improvement output in
Yeah.
terms of their fertility. Whereas if somebody is fully organic, they eat everything perfectly, they do all of the other things, it's probably not to do with that.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
and
Sure.
they need to look at what are the diagnostic components that are going on here. Do they have an autoimmune condition? Do they have an infection? Do they have hormonal imbalances that are coming from other things? So that's where it becomes very specific and very differential when people are
Mhm.
having difficulty conceiving. Now, People can actually get access. My book, Fertility Breakthrough, Overcoming Infertility and Recurrent Miscarriage When Other Treatments Have Failed, is available free on Spotify and YouTube. And
Great.
in here, there are so many resources, so many things that people can start learning about, thinking about, doing, implementing, from nutrition to, you name it, testing, everything. So literally, and of course, the Fertility Challenge also, is a great resource for people. There's thousands of dollars worth of prizes. We give scholarships for the program. Like, there's a whole lot of things that people can access. But ultimately, the short answer is, what is affecting one person is never exactly the same thing that is affecting another couple.
Yeah.
And so it is differential. You do need to dig deep into understanding what are the obstacles that are affecting me, because what your aunt did to overcome her fertility challenges at the time in which she did is probably not what is going to have to happen for you and your partner now.
Yeah. Oof.
Well, that was fun. Thanks for tuning in, lovers. And if you want to experience more ecstasy and sexual liberation, head over to sexlovepsychedelics.com and learn about how you can join me for any one of my online or live events. And while you're there, grab my free guide on sex and psychedelics. Remember, this podcast is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please contact your healthcare provider and local law before pursuing any of the products or psychedelics discussed. And one final note here. I make this show specifically for you. If you're loving the show, then be sure to leave me a review in iTunes or Spotify to let me know. Happy to be here and happy to serve. I'll see you next time on Sex, Love, Psychedelics.